Hey everyone, my name is Suresh. This is going to be my first YouTube video, and I'm planning to create a bunch of videos about Vagrant. If you ask me why Vagrant, I've been using Docker for a while, so I just wanted to know, is there any differences or similarities between these two? Mm, I don't even know, whether it is fair to compare Docker with Vagrant or Vagrant with Docker. I've just started exploring Vagrant, so I thought I would post my learnings online and get feedbacks from the people who know Vagrant better than me. Here we go. So vagrantup.com, that is the official site for Vagrant, and they have got a lot of good documents. So it's very well documented. You can just go there and read if you'd like to know more about Vagrant. Anyway, we would be going through most other things. Um, but in case if you want to refer, if you want to read more details, you can go there. Let me give you an introduction. Why do we need Vagrant? Uh, so most of the times, our dev environment and production environment would be different. So we may not be sure that whatever we develop or whatever we make in the dev environment would work in the production environment. Not only that, we would have different configuration setup in dev environment and production environment, or each environment would have its own configurations. Uh, so it's always better to work in a production like environment, right? And at the same times, you don't want to compromise on your dev tools. For example, I use Vim, G Shell, then I use Tmux in it. So these kind of things, make me more comfortable, and I would be more productive if I use all these tools while developing a software. Mm, but you want to have all this set up in your environment, right? So it's like production like environment with all your dev tools and mm, or browsers, right? You want to test your software in multiple browsers. How are we going to address these concerns? uh, we can address all of these concerns if we have virtual machine running on your dev environment. uh, but how do we get to create virtual machines? So there are softwares through which you can create virtual machines. Uh, so these softwares are called providers in Vagrant. So you don't need to directly deal with these softwares through which you create virtual machines. Okay, let's install Vagrant in your system. Uh, as I said before, to work with Vagrant, you need to have a provider. In our case, we are going to have a VirtualBox. So just go to virtualbox.org, and you can find VirtualBox for different platforms. So just choose the one which you are going to use uh, for your dev purpose. Once you are done with that, just go to vagrantup.com/downloads.html, and then you can start downloading Vagrant. Uh, so once you have installed VirtualBox and Vagrant in your system, so open up a terminal and just type in this command, vagrant dash dash version, and you should be seeing this version in your dev box. That means uh, the Vagrant got installed successfully. And we can do one more thing. If you remove this dash dash, then it would give a little bit more information like this. You can see the installed version and the current or latest version. In my case, I have recently installed, so just my software is up to date with the current version. Mm, so yeah, you have successfully installed Vagrant in your system. So now you have a Vagrant in your system. Let's create a dev environment. Now, to create a dev environment, we need to let Vagrant know about which operating system we want in that machine, right? So, uh, Vagrant has got a configuration file called Vagrantfile. By default, that's the name, and you can mention which operating system you want to install into a virtual machine, and a lot of other configurations you can mention in that file. So the file name is Vagrant file. That is like a folder based, right? That means, for example, if you look at this one, let me create any folder, and we just need to keep Vagrant file into that folder. Then that folder will be considered as a Vagrant project. Okay, let me create only one folder. It can be any name, but I just create a name called Vagrant. So if you look at it, there is no file. Now there is just a folder, and there is nothing to do with Vagrant in this folder right now. So I want to make this folder as a Vagrant project. So for that, you have to run this command, Vagrant init. What this command does is that it will create a default Vagrant configuration file called Vagrantfile. And it will put default configurations into that file. Let me run this. So yeah, it is telling that a Vagrant file has been placed in this directory. So you can see that, yeah, it is placed in this directory. And let me open up that file. um, so this file has a lot of commented code. It looks like a Ruby syntax, and it has most of the things commented. So this is created by the Vagrant init command. So it just says box base. I'll tell you what it is. So if you look at these information, it says that run Vagrant up. So what we have done right now is that we have just created a configuration file. That's it. And what we are going to do next is that we are going to tell uh, uh, the provider, in our case VirtualBox. Mm, we are going to tell the VirtualBox that, hey, create a virtual machine with these configurations, whatever I have mentioned in this Vagrant file. So how we are going to tell, we just need to do Vagrant up. If you do Vagrant up, it's going to happen. Let's do Vagrant up. So when I do Vagrant up, you can see that bringing machine default is the name of that virtual machine uh, with a provider VirtualBox. But I haven't mentioned any provider here. I just said Vagrant up. So by default, it's going to look at uh, uh, it's going to assume that the provider is VirtualBox. That's what it means. And it has the box version also, but we'll see it later. And it is trying to actually download a base. So what does it mean? It is trying to download a base image. So we it's like it's an operating system image. Okay, but in the Vagrant terminology we call it as a box. uh, that's what we mentioned. If earlier when we looked at this file, by default the VM, or the virtual machine box, is base. Okay, and you can read here, whenever we mention this base OS, name, it's going to search against this hashicorp.com. That is Vagrant's official hub or a registry where you can find a lot of boxes, which all are images actually. That's what it is going to do. So when we ran this command up, uh, Vagrant was trying to pull the box called base from hashicorp.com hub, but it didn't find it. Let me show you how it looks like. Let's go here. Okay, so do you see that URL? This is the one, and it was actually searching for base. So for base, there is no name called base here. So this is the name, this is the box name. There is a box name called sparkmook slash base, but there is no name called base. That's why it said that no, there is nothing as such. See, error occurred downloading the remote file. So what we have to do whenever we try to um, bring up a virtual machine, we need to make sure that the image which we are trying to install in that virtual machine is available in HashiCorp. Uh, so you go here. I wanted to install Ubuntu. Yeah, there you go. So let me search Ubuntu. So you can see a lot of Ubuntu images over here. At the same time, you can see provider filter as well. There are a lot of providers you can see, but we are just dealing with VirtualBox, so I just clicked on VirtualBox. Okay, so you see Ubuntu images for VirtualBox. I'm interested in this trusty 64-bit. Um, let me copy this. So I'm trying to install this Ubuntu server 14.04 LTS, which is a trusty in my virtual machine. That's what I'm trying to do. So uh, if you can do it by this way, Vagrant init, then you can mention this box name, then it can update the existing file. Um, uh, you just try this one, you might get an error. Yes, because the Vagrant file is already existing over there, so it doesn't update. Um, just force it, that's it. There is a command, argument, sorry. Yeah, just force it, then it's going to update your Vagrant file. You can just check that. You can see that the box name is changed to Ubuntu slash trusty64. Now this is updated. Now we know that this image is existing in the hub. Now you do a Vagrant up. So now what we are trying to do, the same, like we are telling the default provider, which is VirtualBox, that installed trusty uh, image into a virtual machine, and we haven't given any name for the virtual machine, so the default is the name. Before running this one, I would like to show one more thing. So Vagrant uh, has these commands. If you run a Vagrant status, then that's going to give you status for that folder. So this is the current machine states. So that it was trying to create a virtual machine called default, but it couldn't create, right? That's what it says, it's not created. And there is one more command, global status. So what it means, it will tell you a status from the global point of view. I mean, from the system point of view, not just for the folder. Okay. Mm. So it says but there are no active Vagrant environments, right? We are just inside that folder, but we haven't created any environment on this computer, right? Let's create that. Yeah, uh, we just need to run Vagrant up because we have updated the Vagrant file. Just do the Vagrant up, and it's going to do a bunch of things. I'll explain one by one. So it's going to take time. In the meantime, I'm going to explain this. What happens here? Mm, so the VirtualBox name is used as a default, and Ubuntu slash Trusty64 could not be found. So what it does actually, it tries to find this image locally in the system. If it so it doesn't find, because the very first time you are going to install, so it doesn't find in the local system, and that's why it is uh, trying to download this image from hashicorp.com hub, right? That's what you see there. uh, that's but then you can see the provider name is VirtualBox, so that's what it is trying to pull in from the hub. It's trying to install. Let's wait till it gets installed. Oh, so but this is successfully done. We can say that it's done. It has pulled in the image and created a virtual machine. Let me go through these steps and explain you. So over here, uh, it was importing a base image called Ubuntu slash Trusty64. This is happening from the network, right? Because first time we didn't find locally, so it is pulling it from the network, and it is importing the image, the box, into a virtual machine. Okay, now once it is imported into a virtual machine, the virtual box is trying to assign a MAC address for NAT networking. So NAT networking, it's a default networking for any virtual machine in the virtual box. I'll explain you more details later. Uh, Now you can see that the box is up to date because it was checking for the update, and this is the name of virtual machine. You can see the name is vagrant underscore default underscore some number. So this vagrant is a folder name which you can see here. I have created vagrant folder, that is the name, and the default is the name which it has chosen by default. Underscore, there's a timestamp when it got created. That's how it is going to create a VM name. We can customize that, that we'll see it later, but for now this is how by default it's going to create a virtual machine. Then it's going to set the forwarded ports and network interfaces and everything for that virtual machine. And you can see here the adapter one is chosen, and by default it's NAT adapter. Mm. Then it is doing one more thing. Actually, it is trying to forward port 22 to uh, 2222. So what it means, the virtual machine is created, and its port 22 is mapped with host machines port 2222. Okay, that's what it means. So this is used for SSH connection. Mm, you can see this one. There's the SSH address and all other details. So it says the machine booted and ready, and it is checking for the other additions. Okay, so it's all set. It means it's all set, and mm, let's see how we would make sure that it now the virtual machine is created. What you can do is that the same command, you can go here and you can check Vagrant status, and it should say it's running. See, you can see that a virtual machine is running. So the virtual machine is created with the image which we have added in the configuration file. Mm. And one more thing is that you can check the global status here. So the global status is going to tell you that yeah, there is a running environment, because we have run that Vagrant environment, right? It's up and running, so that's what it's going to tell you here. uh, it can, and I know it can tell you where which directory this belongs to. So yeah, we are good. And you can SSH into that box and confirm that yeah, the machine is running, it's up and running. Now this is going to be your dev environment. You can install whatever you want. This is Ubuntu operating system, so you can just do apt-get install whatever you want. um, uh, that's all pretty much. Let's So now this is your dev environment. Let's get out after this one. Say exit. Yeah, now it says connection closed. um, I would like to show one more thing. Let me split this. Yeah, so it's the same folder. I'm in the same path. uh, one side I just want to run this fconfig, and this is my host machines uh, configurations, network configurations. You can see it all here. Then let me do one more thing. um, Let me get inside my dev environment, right? Just you just need to get into that folder and do Vagrant SSH. That's it. You'll be landing into that virtual machine. Mm. Now, before running this one, I would like to highlight one thing here. On the left hand side, what I have is my host machine, right? The host machine's IP is 192.168.8.200. That's my IP. Uh, that's a Class C network IP. So that's what my host machine is, right? Now let me try to connect to this Vagrant SSH. I'm just connecting. I'm getting into VM from my host machine, right? But when I try to do that, it says that last login happened from 10.0.2.2. Yeah, and the address of this machine is you can see here 10.0.2.15. You can run the same command here to see network settings. Mm. If you look at this one, um, it says the IP address of this VM is 10.0.2.15, and this is Class A network. So these ranges are all part of private networks, right? Um, I don't want to get into that detail, but I'm just letting you know. Mm. So you might wonder, how come it says that 10.0.2.2, but actually our host machine IP address is 192.168.8.200. From where I was trying to log in was this address 192.168.8.200. But why does it say that I logged in from 10.0.2.2? Because uh, this machine, the virtual machine, uh, is in the private network, okay, uh, and the virtual box is acting as a router, okay. So from the host machine, you won't be able to access the virtual machine. Okay, so here I am. This is my host machine. Let me ping this guy. 2.15, right? That's this address of my virtual machine. If I try to ping this guy, see, request times out. So that means I cannot access this virtual machine from my host machine, because my virtual machine is in the private network. It's similar to, just assume that your home network. What happens? Your home network would have ISP's router. When it comes inside, then it becomes a private network, right? Um you can access the outside world, but outside world cannot access your internal network, right? It's the same thing. So in our case, the virtual box is acting as a router. uh, See, if I try to ping from here, so this should work now. Yeah, see, it's pinging Yahoo server. So from inside virtual machine, I'm able to talk to the outside world. But from outside, you cannot talk to the private network. That's how it works. And this is very well explained in the VirtualBox documents. Uh, I think the page number 6 and the page number 97 for the VirtualBox's manual has all the details about this one. You can view about it, but I just wanted to let you know this is how it works. In the next set of tutorials, we'll dive more into Vagrant's feature. Um, Please subscribe to my channel and leave your comments. I would like to address any of your concerns, or try to rectify if I made any mistakes. Thank you so much.